Hello and welcome back to I Have No Idea What I'm Doing. It's been about a month since I last posted a video, but I just started a new job at GitLab, so I've been very busy getting settled in there and getting everything sorted. But the good news is I'm all settled now and I'm back to getting these episodes out once a fortnight. So I'm going to be working completely remotely, completely out in the open from now on. I've written a blog post on my blog, which I will link to in the description if you want to read any more about it. One of the good things is I am now using Vue and Vuex as part of my day job, so I should have more of an idea what I'm doing now. Maybe. We'll see. If I remember rightly, we left off last time with our Firebase database in place, and we had a little bit of a security issue with our read-write rules, so I will be aiming to rectify that today with some authentication and a little login, logout type thing. So, that's enough about me. We're here to look at code, not this face. Roll the intro. Okay, so last time, a very, very long time ago, what we looked at was integrating Firebase and using Firebase as our main database. And that gave us loads of nice features like real-time updates across multiple clients, multiple browsers, multiple devices, all sorts of things. And it meant that we could start getting a bit of an actual card game going. But if you have been following along, you might have noticed, if you were using the same DLs, if you've used your own Firebase DLs, this will be fine. But if you've tried to use mine, there is a small bug in that you can send a card away and it comes right back to where it came from. And that is simply because we kind of brushed over these a little bit last time. But if we go into our database, so this is our player one, our hand with our cards in. If we go into rules, you can see I've set write to false. So when we're making requests to Firebase to move a card from one place to the other, it's seeing these rules, it's seeing that write is set to false, and it's saying no, basically. And if we look at, see permission denied errors in the console. So this was just simply because I didn't want people hooking themselves up to this database and just making really weird changes and messing completely with this series. So to safeguard myself a little bit, I set it to false. But that unfortunately means that even I can't edit it. So for now, I'm going to set it to true, publish that, and I am going to use authentication. So authentication just lets you sign in with all sorts of different things, and it gives you a user ID, and then you can use that user ID in your rules. So you can say, in this instance, I'm going to say only allow my user ID to make any changes. But you can say things like only allow signed in users to make changes. You can say, so eventually we're going to have like proper player IDs, and that will be tied in with the user ID. So you can say only allow that player to manipulate their own hand. So player one can't, mess about in the console and make some requests to change player two's hand and vice versa. But as I said, to keep it simple, I'm just going to specifically say only me, like only I can make changes. So if we got to set up a sign-in method, you see Firebase gives us loads of different options. I have set it up with Google in the past, and that has been the easiest option. So for now, I'm just going to go with this. And it's just a case of going in, ticking enable, and hitting save. And there we go. We're not done at all. We need to implement the button, basically the sign in with Google button. And if I'm completely honest, I cannot remember how to do that. So let's refresh my memory and kind of learn together here. So Firebase Google Auth. Okay, so I went on a long route down the wrong road for a little while there, just getting completely lost in the documentation. But I've found the right page now. It's called Authenticate using Google Sign-In with JavaScript. So should have been pretty obvious which one the right page was, but there you go. These things happen. So I've not gone through this yet, but let's go through this together. So before we begin, We need to add Firebase to our JavaScript project. We did that a while ago. And we need to enable Google Sign In on the Firebase console, which we just did. Yes, good. I did it the right way. Now we need to handle the sign-in flow with the Firebase SDK. Okay, we create an instance of the Google Provider object, right? And then optional. I'm skipping the optional ones because I'm after the simplest, quickest, most boring solution to this. Authenticate with Firebase using the Google Provider object. Prompt your users, not losers, to sign in with their Google accounts either way in a pop-up window or a direct sign-in page. The redirect method is preferred on mobile devices. Okay, so since we're going to be using mobile devices pretty heavily, I'll just go straight with the redirect method. That's fine. So what that means is, you know, when you sign into something and it says sign in with Google, and you can either click it and it comes up with a pop-up that says which account do you want, or it takes you to another page to ask you what account you want. That's the difference between them. So this is an example of sign in with pop-up and sign in with redirect. It's exactly the same, just a different function basically. Okay, right, so what we want to do is we want to realistically, we've got components, data collection, store, that's what I'm looking for. This just handles all the cards things. What I want to handle though is I actually want to handle the authentication separately, so I'm just going to save a new one and call that auth.js. Axios we don't need. Firebase we probably still do need. Right, so I've set up a mutation, a getter and an action and a default state. So the default state has a user object with a user ID of 1234. We have a getter that says get me the user from the state. We have a mutation that says set whatever we've told the payload to be to, set the user to be whatever we've set the payload to be. And then we have an action that says wait for a second, then set the user to be this other user with a slightly different ID. So we can test all the different bits to see if they work. It might be good, might be bad, might work, might not, we'll see. So if we come out of modules and in index, we want to include that auth module. In fact, I'm going to put it up there. Okay, that's Firebase cards. I also want auth. We should be good here. Now, if I'm just going to cheat a little bit and go to, where's my Vue extension? Oh, not this again. Not this again. 1 second. And as if by magic, the Vue DevTools has reappeared. Yeah, like I said, I just got a new laptop, so there's a few things that aren't quite set up right. But what I was about to do was what I've just done, I guess. So now that we've got the state, we've got our cards and our auth, which is the new module we've got. And if we have a quick look in there, we've got the user that has a user ID of 1234, which is what we set up here. And if we call this action, then in theory that should change to 4321. I don't know if there's a way. What's this? Nope. Can I? It doesn't seem like I can. I can't just fire off any old action. So if I come back into the test screen, test screen.view, how have I done it for the deck? store.commit move card to. I wonder, I don't know if this, so I've got an auth module and a cards module, but I'm not directly calling the cards module with these ones, so maybe I can just do inside test screen if I make a button and just say login, and then we have a components methods login. This store. In fact, let me just copy that. This.store.commit login. It doesn't need a payload. Oh wait. I may have done something weird here. Let's carry on. Let's carry on. See what happens. And then let's set that to click is login. Let's put my button up there. It's a good button. Oh, our console's going up and up and up. Unknown mutation type login. All right, okay. Let's see. Vuex fire action. It's not commit. I knew commit was the wrong word. I just couldn't quite remember. Dispatch. That's the word I'm looking for. Vue dispatch an action. Okay, let's see. We're getting no errors, which is good. There's our actions. And now our user ID is 4321. Okay, good. So the login button is working with our let's refresh and we can see. So we've got what we've set up in our auth.js, as I said before. We've got default user 1234. We've got the getter that gets that user, we've got a mutation that sets it, and we've got an action that waits a second and then sets it to 4321. So in theory, when we hit this button, it should fire the action that waits a second and then sets the user to be something different. So there we go, that was a second later. This our mutation came in, and now our user ID is 4321. So if I refresh, user 1234, click the button, and 1 second later, 4321. Okay, good. So that's working. We're not logging into anything, but we've got the mutations and everything set up. So now all we need to do, all this can stay largely the same. All we need to do at this point is say, right, okay, Firebase, go log me in, come back, and what I'm trying to say, log in, come back, and give me the user ID. So how do we do that? Oh, I've closed all the documentation. Great. Firebase Google Auth. Right. This was it. Right, yeah, whatever. Go away. Okay. Where were we? This is what we want. Import Firebase from there, that's fine. Right, so let's just out here. I want to see what this does. Sign with pop-up. I don't think it'll let us. We did say we'd use the other one, but I just want to see what happens here. Let's set debugger right there. Okay. What's our issue? Firebase.auth is not a function. That's because yeah. I want to set some of this up in here. I missed a step at the top, didn't I? Right. Comms provider equals that. You know what? Let's keep this out of it. Let's just, again, I'm just going to map auth to auth. It's a bit convoluted the way I've done this here, but we'll come back to that. Let's just get it working. Where are we? This one. Yes. Right. Provider. This might work. Oh, there we go. So we've got our pop-up. We've got a pop-up. It appears to do nothing. I totally understand why this is an issue with mobiles now. So what's the other option? Sign in with redirect. Yep. Okay, let me see if I can just log in there. One password. 2 ticks. I will just log in very quickly. Okay, so I've properly signed in, but the problem I have is I've been a bit dumb, really. And if we look at the call we've just made, so this originally said sign in with pop-up or pop-over or whatever it was, and we just changed it straight up to redirect, which, you know, it should work in theory, but well, what we're doing, if we actually read what we've written here, is we're saying redirect to somewhere else with the Google provider, and then, but of course we're never going to hit that then, because we've just redirected, we've just changed the page. So our app sends us away, logs us in, and then comes back, and the app's completely reset, and we're not hitting this then anymore, which is exactly what the documentation tells us. To sign in by redirecting, call this, then retrieve the auth token by saying get redirect result when the page loads. So, I mean, it does make things a little odd. I kind of want here this. So this isn't really an action here. This is where it gets muddled in my head. I don't really know how this is going to work. Okay, so we have some news. Let's just call it news. Let's not decide whether it's good news or bad news yet. So I've got it working. It's weird. You need to click banana, and then banana takes you off and signs you into Google, and then when you come back you click login, and nothing happens. Right, so I was struggling with this for a little while, and then I thought, hang on, let me just put this into not incognito, regular. See, it's just come back there in the debugger. We've got a catch error, so let's see what that error is. Timeout. The operation is timed out. Right, fair enough. So if I go into a new tab, a new Chrome window that's not in incognito mode, and I go to the right page, test screen, let's inspect, we hit banana, ask me what account I want to sign into. Let's go with Frontend NE. It comes back, and if we hit login, we can see we've hit the actual then here. So we have what did I call it? Results. You know, we've got the user credentials, what they've signed in with, their ID, their access token, all this lovely stuff. So the only thing I can think is that it doesn't work in incognito mode, which is good. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if I've maybe not logged in properly in incognito mode or whatever. So let's just go without incognito mode for now. I'm going to tidy up my screens and I'll come back. Right, so we've tidied up a little bit. What I'm going to do, since this is working now, in fact, no, I'll leave that for now. I'm just going to talk through what's going on. So, banana is simply a button that, where are we? So we've got our two buttons here. We've got banana and we've got login. Banana fires a banana method, login fires a login method, which in turn dispatch actions of the same names. Inside auth, we have banana and we have login. But this is just to test that it's working, by the way. There will be no bananas left in the code. Do not worry. So we have banana, which is the first one we call, and that simply says get the provider, which we should probably be putting somewhere else anyway, and then sign in with the redirect. So go to that the page we need to redirect to, and then log in says get the result of that redirect, and then actually log in. Well, it doesn't actually ask us to log in just yet, but this is where we would say handle all the login data. So at the moment we have to click banana and then come back and click login, which is not ideal, but it is kind of what it is right now. So what I want to do with this redirect result, I want to get the user data and I want to store it inside where are we? Our auth user, which is currently set to 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I log in, we're in debug mode now. It's a little broken, but let's have a look at our results. So what do we get back? In fact, what's this telling us? Token is result.credential.access token. I think that's what we want. Oh, there's all sorts in here. All sorts. We'll probably want some of these things. So if I pull out the display name and the email and a photo URL and a UID. So what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? I want, what do you say, display name, email, photo URL and ID. Have I got them right? Photo URL's all uppercase. UID, not ID. Display name and email. Have I got any of them two right? Email I got right and display name I got right. Good. Good, good. So I want them off. What object are these on? What is it? Results.user. And then I just want to have user equals display name, email, photo URL, and UID. That's fine. So what this is doing is this is pulling just these attributes of the result of the user, and then this is saying, right, well, I just want a new user object that has these things that we've just pulled off. There might be an easier way of writing it, I'm not entirely sure, but this is fine, really. And then we want to commit that, which I have forgotten how to do again. Where it's literally, it couldn't be simpler. Commit, what does it set? User to be not snapshot.val, but just user. Now we can get rid of that and that, and I don't need an access token. It's fine. I don't need any of that. I'm just going to leave that as a debugger because let's actually set it to do. Actually handle this error. Okay. I need to come back in and sort of formatting things, but that's fine. We will worry about that later. Right. So login. Right. So we've hit the error because. Am I still in debug mode? I don't know what's going on. So if you've got a banana before you log in. Remember that. Yeah, this will change, don't worry. And then we hit login. And then we go view, user. There we go. Right, good. Good. So in theory, that photo URL should be like a avatar. If we just view it, yeah, there we go. So yeah, we've got our display name, we've got our email, and we've got, most importantly, our user ID, which is what we wanted. Yeah, we've got a weird way about getting it. We've got banana and login buttons, but it kind of works. So if I just very quickly jump across to here, so this is our Firebase instance. I don't think I'm covering anything up with my video here, but yeah, there we go. So this is hi at frontening. You can see we've got our user ID here, which should be the same as what's set here. Yeah. Yup. Now, what we can do, if we go into our database, just get rid of these. If we go into our database, and then rules, right, we just set a conditional where authenticated provider Google with, our UID is already filled in, good. Can't remember how you write this. Basically I want to say user equals and then that's our photo ID. I want that UID, right? But I don't know what user is or how we do it. Is it that? Can I do that? Am I making that up? Yeah, I thought so. Let me just Firebase rules user ID. Oh, I need to put it in quotes and remember that it's actually JavaScript, JSON. And do my triple equals like so. Unknown variable UID. What? Dollar variables UID should be a UID. Weird. Oh, auth.uid. Right, okay. Okay, good. Right, so, oh, it's right we want to check. Let's see. Whatever. Right, it's allowed. But if we try to do it not authenticated, right. So what we've done here in these rules is we've said anyone can read, that's fine. I don't mind about people reading the data, but you can only write to the database if you are logged in with this particular user ID, which you can only be logged in with that particular user ID if you are logged into my Google account. So you can see if we try and, so this simulator just lets you run tests without having to actually run the without having to run it in the code. So we can see, like, if we read and we're not authenticated, that's fine. If we try to write to the database, you can specify what specific data you want to write, but we're not worried about that for now. We're denied because of this rule. If we are authenticated with this user ID, then the write is allowed. If we're authenticated with another completely nonsense user ID, then we're denied. Happy days. So in theory, so I was sorry, I'm not sure where I trailed off there, but so I was trying to figure out, I was about to do a big reveal of how this works, and it didn't, and I couldn't work out why, and it's because I forgot to publish the rules. So if you make any changes, you see you get this here. I forgot to hit publish, so yeah, they're still the old rules. Rather silly of me, but there you go. Bear that in mind if ever your rules aren't applying. It's maybe because you forgot to tell them to. Right, so what I was going to show you is now that on this incognito window where I am not logged in as anyone, I can't make, in fact my video is going to be covering the, right, let's go back to here. So currently we're not logged in as anyone, so when I try and make a change, everything happens, but we get that permission denied error that's saying, like, look, you're not allowed to edit the database, you're not logged in, like, what are you doing? So then if we do the whole banana shuffle, trademarked, and we log in as Frontend NE, so you can see our user is set to Frontend NE now, and then we try and make changes, we have a permission denied error. Oh, why? What's your beef? Okay, so after a little while, I seem to have maybe found the issue. So this is what we set. If the user ID equals this string, then allow it, which, you know, should work. And if it's not that string, then don't allow it. But it wasn't working, and I was logged in, and I still couldn't make requests. I couldn't work out why. And the reason is because it was doing exactly what I told it to do. And I have no idea where I've got this random string from, but that is not my user ID. That is my user ID. So let's see if that fixes it. So yeah, there we go. If I do a proper refresh, I'm not sure if I stay logged in. I do stay logged in. By banana to log in as a different user. Right. Where are the cards? Here they are. Right. So now in theory, I'm logged in as not that user. So I should. Oh, I've set a debugger in here. I need to remove that. Actually. So what I've got here is if the error fails for some reason, we catch that error and do something. That's something we should actually implement, because otherwise it just kind of fails silently and you don't know why. But there you go. So right, there we go. We're getting the permission denied because I'm logged in as the wrong user, so I can't make any edits. But if I rebanana as Frontend NE, this dance will go away, don't worry. If I rebanana and then try and make some changes, I can. So there we go. It's now set so that only requests authenticated with my user ID actually allow us to make changes. Okay, so we have made quite possibly the worst login flow ever in the history of login flows. I've never had a login flow where you have to click banana, select a Google profile, wait for the page to redirect you, click login and get no feedback whatsoever, and then just assume that you're logged in. It's awful, really, to be honest, but it was a proof of concept. It's got us actually logging in with the Firebase authentication API, which is nice that it does that. We need to update it a little bit so that we obviously don't have to do the banana shuffle. So I'm gonna go away and I'm gonna make an authentication component that just encapsulates everything to do with logging in and out. If you're already authenticated, it'll fetch the details. If you're not authenticated, it'll prompt you to log in, and then handle the redirect itself, so you don't have to do all that dancing about. So yeah, I've made components a few times in the past, so I'm gonna time lapse it and I'm gonna come back. I wanted to start doing these time-lapse chat things as a way to get as much work done as possible on the app without making these videos hours long. I mean, all I'm doing here is creating a component and hooking it up to a store. It's something that you can see if you go through the older videos in a slightly different flavour, so there's no point reinventing the wheel with this. You can kind of see what's going on in the background, but it's nice for me to just step back and sort of talk through what I'm doing and where we are with the app and all that sort of thing. So the reasoning behind this component is I wanted something that just handled the auth. So the cards, the deck, all that sort of thing, they don't need to worry about whether we're authenticated with Firebase or not. It just works. The authentication handles the authentication. That's it. I struggled a little bit with where to put the Firebase stuff, whether it should be in the authentication component or in the authentication module, and ultimately it made sense to keep all that stuff inside the module, so that all the component itself does is make requests to this module that says I want to log in, and then the module says, okay, we want to log in. We use Firebase for logging in, so let's go to Firebase and do what we need to do to log in. And the authentication module just it doesn't care that we use Firebase. We can swap it out for pretty much anything, and it's fine. So that's good for that reason. We can swap it out for something, but it's also really good for testing. I've not gone through the tests on this because, again, we've already done a lot of testing in these videos, and you don't need to see me do it again. But something like this really, really helps with testing. One quick note that's kind of unrelated to this, really, but I got a mechanical keyboard recently, and I've just gone through and started editing this video and realised just how loud that keyboard comes across on camera. So apologies for that. I didn't realise it would be quite as loud as it was. I will try and edit the audio so that it's a little bit easier on the ears, and I'll fix that in following episodes. But yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, we're coming towards the end of this time lapse now. I'm just going through and refactoring everything, and then putting some really basic styling on the component to just hide it away in the top right corner. I've left a lot of the standard HTML styling there because it doesn't need to be anything fancy. It's just, it is what it is. A button is a button. So over to other me to talk through exactly what it is that I've done. Okay, so we have got the login functionality working a lot nicer. Encapsulating it all in that one component really helped things. I'll dig through the code in a second. I just want to really quickly go over how it works. Now, it's not beautiful. It's just a regular button floating in a grey box at the top corner at the moment. But that's fine because it's not a final thing. It's not making it as is into the app. We need to figure out what the app looks like. We styled the cards because we knew they were always going to look the way they were, but with this login thing, it's fine, we'll get to it later. All that matters now is it works and the flow is nice. So now you notice there's a distinct absence of bananas, which is usually pretty good. We click login, you see that login action got fired there. It asks us to pick an account. If we pick Frontend and E, we log in. My internet is going a little bit slow, which is why it takes a while to log in. It should go a lot faster than this normally, but you'll see that we did log in and we are now logged in. This is our email address up here. It's just a way of me checking what account there is. We've also got a display name, which would have maybe made more sense to show up there, a photo URL, and the user ID, which is the important bit. Now, because I'm logged in as Frontend and E, I can move all the cards about and everything works as we expect, which is really nice. If we log out, we actually can't make any requests anymore. You see we're getting warnings and things here, permission denied, simply because we're not logged in as me anymore, so we don't have my privileges. And you'll notice when we're logged in, we get the data, the email at the top. When we're not logged in, we get the option to log in. So quickly to go through the code, this is the component. It's not that complicated as you might expect. So I have moved a couple of bits in. In fact, I'll come back to this component. I'm going to go to Auth because this has changed quite a bit. So we have first off set the default user thing to just an empty object rather than the fake user ID that we had before, because it's irrelevant. We don't need it. We have two getters. We have the user, which just returns the user from the state, and we have logged in, which is slightly different to how we've used getters before, and it returns a boolean. So this might look a little confusing at first, but what it does is this is a function that takes the state and it says if there is a UID in the state.user, return true. If there isn't, return false. So basically user here doesn't have a UID, so it'll return false, but when we're logged in we'll have UID is whatever, and then it'll return true. So it's just a quick and easy way of checking if we're logged in or not, and we use that in the component, as you'll see in a minute. We have also moved login to a mutation as opposed to an action, because it's not an action because it doesn't commit anything. We just call it and then it does its thing, and then we wait. So login, we set a new Google Auth provider, and then we tell Auth to sign in with a redirect using that provider, which is exactly what we were doing before. With the banana. Naming is hard. Log out is a new one, and that is just simply a call to the Firebase auth to say sign out, just log us out. Nice and simple there. And then we have one action now. So we have fetch creds. And what fetch creds does is, so before we had sign in with redirect, and then we would try and pick up that redirect and do various bits and pieces, and it turns out we don't really need to do that. So what we do is we set a listener, same as we do for, when we connect to the database, and we set a listener to see if any of the data has changed, and then we handle that data. So much in the same way as that, we say, right, Firebase the auth, when the auth state has changed, if there is a user, so if we're logging in, then we do what we did before. We take the display name, the email, blah 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 from the user, and we commit a set user mutation to say that to the cleaned user. So that comes up here, and we say, right, okay, set state.user to equal whatever this payload is. Else, so if there's not a user, then we commit a set user of just an empty object, which will reset it back to this default empty user, and we're logged out as far as the app's concerned as well. So this just basically listens to Firebase, and if for whatever reason Firebase logs us out or in or whatever, then this will update. So that's all good, pretty much, and then we just return them as we did before. Now this component is the new thing, and we just say, let me just sort that out a little bit. It's just a div with a class of auth, and then we say if we're logged in, so that uses that logged in thing that we have here. If we are logged in, show the email and the logout button. User.actually, I'm going to change that from email to display name. I just think it makes more sense. Yeah, so we display the display name, and then we have a logout button that when you click it calls a logout function. And then if we're not logged in, show the login button, and then have the login method attached to the click handler. So in the script, all we need to do is we need to, I don't actually need to pull in Firebase, I don't know why that's still there. We need to import map getters and map mutations from Vuex, and we can use these to just map our login and logout mutations to the methods so that we can call them directly here, and map the user and the logged in properties so that we can use them here and call them straight from the store, which is really nice. And what we do here, so this before create says before the element itself is created, we just dispatch fetch creds action, and then that sits and watches Firebase. Now, talking through it now, I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, but it works. I'll readdress that later. For now, it works and it's good. I think that might be what's holding the app up when it loads. It's not letting it finish creating until this is done. But I can readdress this later if I need to. And then there's just some really simple styles to say, like set a font, fix it in the top right, set some padding in the background just to, make it a little bit separate, and that just sets the grey there. And you can see we've got the name now, Frontend in E, and then our little logout button. So that was authentication with Firebase. It took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but once we got the basics down and we can go and clean things back up, like this, what we've got here is so much nicer than what we had before we did the time lapse. And again, it can be improved more, but it works, it's in there, it does what we need it to do. I'm happy to leave it at that.